We got this one on the tow truck right now. It is a Kia Sorento and our lights are flashing. Customer says he was driving and lost power and it won't start back up. We're gonna head back to the shop, get a diag on this and see what's up. So we got the car back to the shop. I got it pulled into the bay. I do know what the problem is just by trying to move the car in the bay. First, I hooked it up to jumper cables, and as soon as I pulled the cables off, the car immediately died. So if you guys don't know, that is a tall tale sign that your alternator is bad. Your alternator is not charging your battery, and your car cannot run just off the battery itself. That's how your battery will drain and it'll die, and then you'll get symptoms like this guy where wherever it acts like it's a dead battery, but whenever you hook it up, take the cables away, and it immediately dies, that means that your alternator is not charging the car. So this is a 2013 Kia Sorento, and we are going to be diving into a alternator swap. First things first, we gotta remove our battery cables. And then we're gonna come to our passenger side wheel and pull this guy off. Next, we gotta pull off this inner fender well by removing these clips. Next, we are going to be removing this cover and the bottom skid plate. The bottom skid plate is just a bunch of 10s. Now, with all that removed, that gives us access to everything. This is our belt tensioner. The alternator is right here. So our next step is going to be removing this serpentine belt. Next, we're gonna come to our AC compressor and get this plug out. You just push the tab in, pull it out, nice and easy. And now it looks like we have some 13s, 4 of them. Next, we're gonna come to this side of the alternator, and we have a electrical plug right here. You get that just by pushing in this tab and pulling it off. And then we have a power wire up here, which looks like a 12. All right, we got our 14 out. It was right here, right where my finger is. I don't got a zoom, but it's right there. We're gonna swing back down to the bottom right here, and there's another 14. Next, you get your pry bar and just pry the alternator straight out. Give it a couple wiggles. Need to unclip this harness real quick. And our alternator just falls straight down. Now we got the alternator out. It's time to go to O'Reilly's. I'm gonna get it tested just to double check, make sure it's bad. You always just want to double check. And then we're gonna buy a new one. Then we're gonna get a new one and slap it back in if it's bad. It's hard to tell exactly why this went bad. It could just be that this alternator has 180,000 miles on it, but if we look at it, there is a bunch of oil on it, and that is because this valve cover does have a pretty bad leak. So the oil on the alternator definitely does not help it out. I mean, that's not it. It's just so hard to tell exactly why it did go bad. I mean, over time, these do just go bad. But the oil leaks definitely do not help the matter out. We are back with our new alternator, and we were not able to get the old one tested. The machine just said unable to test. So normally you'd go in there, get it tested, it would say failed or passed, and then you know if it's good or not. That's just to double check the problem. I mean, I'm 99% sure that this is my problem, so I don't have to worry about that too much. But we're gonna go ahead and install our new one. What we could actually do is get our bolt and then we can get our bolt and start it on the outside, and then we can hook it onto the bracket just like that, and then we can swing it up. There we go. I got our bolt in there and started. I did that just by swinging the alternator straight up, and then you can put that bolt straight through the bracket. Now we can come back down here and tighten up this 14. After we get that bottom 14 tightened up, we're going to come up to our top and tighten up our last alternator mounting bolt. You can reach this one with a depot pretty easy. I just got my ratchet on here just like this, and you can go ahead and tighten it up. Next, we're going to swing back down here, and we are going to hook our wire back up. Next, we're going to get our plug, and this goes on nice and easy. You're just going to line it up, push it on until it clicks. So we're just going to lift this back up just like so, line up the studs, push it on, and start your bolts. Now just remember that there is 4 of them, but we're good to tighten these up. Once you have your AC compressor back on, we can go ahead and put the serpentine belts on. Now, since we have everything put back together except for the shields, we can go ahead and test it out and make sure everything's working just before we install our skid plates again. We're going to go ahead and hook up our negative battery cable. I have been charging the battery for quite some time now. We're going to try to fire it up. And we are running, and it is working. Before, this car would die as soon as I unhooked the jumper cables, but now it's staying running, so that means our alternator is charging our battery again. I'm gonna let it run for just a couple minutes just so I can charge that battery back up, but then we're gonna be good to put our bottom skid plates back on, as well as the fender well and the tire. But it's looking great. Now, since we know everything's working good, we can go ahead and throw our covers back on. Now we are going to throw on our fender well. Now you just slap your engine cover on, and we are good to go. That's how you do an alternator in a Kia Sorento. And yeah, we're done.